In the Bible, three words are often used to describe human wrongdoing: sin, iniquity, and transgression. Many people use these words interchangeably, but Scripture gives each one a distinct meaning. Understanding these differences helps us see the depth of human failure, the condition of the heart, and the greatness of God's mercy. Let us examine each one according to biblical standards. Sin, missing the mark. The biblical word for sin comes from the Hebrew chata and the Greek hamartia. Both words mean to miss the mark. Sin describes falling short of God's perfect standard. It does not always involve deliberate rebellion. Often, it is the result of human weakness, ignorance, or imperfection. Biblical example 1, Romans 3:23. For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. This verse defines sin clearly. Sin is falling short of God's glory. It applies to every human being. No one naturally meets God's righteous standard. Biblical example 2, Leviticus 4:2. If anyone sins unintentionally. Here, Scripture shows that sin can be unintentional. A person may act wrongly without intending to rebel against God. Yet even unintentional sin still requires atonement, because God is holy. Biblical example 3, Luke 5:8. When Peter encounters Jesus' holiness, he says, "Depart from me, for I am a sinful man, O Lord." Peter is not confessing a specific act. He is acknowledging his sinful condition in the presence of divine purity. Sin reveals our inability to reach God's standard on our own. Summary of sin. Sin is missing God's mark, sometimes unintentional, rooted in human weakness, common to all humanity. But the Bible speaks of something deeper than individual actions. Iniquity, a crooked nature. The word iniquity comes from the Hebrew avon. It means crookedness, distortion, or moral corruption. While sin refers to acts, iniquity refers to the inner condition of the heart. It describes repeated sin that becomes a pattern and shapes a person's character. Biblical example 1 Isaiah 53:6. The Lord has laid on him the iniquity of us all. This verse reveals that Christ carried more than individual sins. He bore the deep corruption of human nature. Iniquity represents the root problem behind sinful actions. Biblical example 2, Psalm 51:5. David says, "I was brought forth in iniquity." David is not blaming his parents. He is acknowledging an inward condition, a nature inclined towards sin. Iniquity lives in the heart before it appears in behavior. Biblical example 3, Exodus 34:7. Visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children. This shows that iniquity can become generational. When sinful patterns go unrepented, they can be passed down through influence and example. Summary of iniquity. Iniquity is a twisted inner nature, repeated or habitual sin, deep moral corruption, sometimes generational, yet Scripture describes an even more serious level. Transgression, willful rebellion. The word transgression comes from the Hebrew pesha. It means to rebel or to cross a known boundary. Transgression is intentional disobedience. It is a conscious choice to violate God's command. Biblical example 1, Genesis 3. God clearly commanded Adam and Eve not to eat from the tree. They understood the command and the consequence, yet they chose to disobey. This was not ignorance, it was deliberate rebellion. Biblical example 2, King Saul, 1 Samuel 15. Saul knew God's instructions, but chose partial obedience. He justified his actions instead of repenting. The prophet Samuel declared, "Rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft." Saul's actions were intentional. This is transgression. Biblical example 3 Daniel 9:11. All Israel has transgressed your law. Israel knew God's covenant. They consciously broke it. This was deliberate rejection of God's authority. Summary of transgression. Transgression is willful rebellion, deliberate disobedience, crossing a known boundary, conscious violation of God's law. The biblical conclusion. Psalm 32 brings all three together. Blessed is he whose transgression is forgiven, whose sin is covered, whose iniquity the Lord does not impute. God addresses our failures, our corrupted nature, our rebellion. His mercy reaches every level. Final reflection. Sin reveals our failure. Iniquity exposes our condition. Transgression shows our rebellion. Yet God's grace is greater than all three. No matter the depth of human failure, God's mercy goes deeper still. If this video inspired you, comment, like, and follow for more.